and where he show our gratitude to go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive, and of course the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making the rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. Planting for food struggles for survival. Flagship program partners owed huge debts. Minister. Pirates on rampage in Gulf of Guinea. Abduct Ghanaian fishing vessel crew. Sputnik vaccine suppliers pull out. Minister of Health discloses. 3 ministries receive clearance to employ 11,840. Ghanaian Times. 12 years after fire swept through it, old Foreign Affairs building abandoned, left at mercy of weather, plants growing in upper floors, were committed to safeguard security of country, President Akufo-Addo. African heads of state in Accra to honor former Nigerian President Isufu today. Sputnik V vaccine contract terminated, Health Minister. Daily Guide. Dubai Sheikh Sputnik contract cancelled. Blood on JB killer's hands. Chiefs push for a mayor in Doma West. Ejura hot political bed, military needed. Moesha drama unfolds. New weekend crusading guide. More jobs as government gives clearance for 3 state institutions for employment. Bojo's headmistress exposed for sabotaging free SHS. Awudua Jasihine kidnapped in Takwa. Ghana fails to grow 5,000 hectares of fertilizers from fecal waste. Sputnik V vaccine. Dubai Sheikh cancels contract with government. The Insight. Bui Dam faces shutdown as power generation suffers over low water level. Martin Amidu descends on Godfrey Dami again. MP expresses alarm over security situation in Zebila. I have not been disowned by Ni Taki Obli family. Bezalil Zola clears air. The Informer. The legacy of a visionary leader. Mills resurrects as Ghanaians call for implementation of CRC report. Sputnik V procurement Yamutu as public anger drowns deal. Possible terrorist attack by Burkinabe bandits in Upper West region. Akufo-Addo urges vigilance. Calls for cooperation with state security agencies to forestall it. Danger. COVID-19 cases surge. Moves to boost revenue collection and improve access to MDAs. Baomi unveils Ghana.gov portal. The Inquisitor. GRA board membership. Oforiatta deceives in court parliament. Techiman South election case. NDC slapped with another fine. Dr. Prempe confers with Nigerian counterpart. Greater Accra Regional Hospital success story. COVID-19. Ghana's ICUs not full. Ghana Health Service insists. The Herald. Chief Justice's $5 million bribery case takes new turn. Dozier reveals Ghana Telecom being forced to pay double compensation. Health Minister shamed as Sputnik V middlemen failed to deliver COVID vaccine. Martin Amidu calls Attorney General lazy and sleepy. PASCO contract for free SHS students bloated. Clement Apak. The Daily Statesman. 11,840 jobs on offer as government grants financial clearance for recruitment. 1.6 billion COVID vaccines to be rolled out from now to 2022. NDC MPs. So a crash. Shouldn't it be clash over MP's car loan? They've clashed over it. They've not crashed. The Kenyan Publisher. Government okays 11,800 jobs. Sputnik V contract abrogated. No financial loss to Ghana. Health Minister. Africa COVID deaths surge 43% in a week. WHO. ADB MD commends Kingdom Exim Group CEO. The Custodian. Motala blast hypocritical in quote black over MP's car loan. Lambusie cries to Akufo-Addo for district hospital. 11,840 jobs for security personnel and others as government gives clearance for recruitment. MPs want to oppose government policy to buy vehicles for lawmakers. Obi Amwa. The Accra Times. Militarized police breeds militarized society. Peter Tobu. Bagbin prioritized healthcare. District Health Director reveals. James Aveji Stephen Amwa clash in Parliament over Akufo-Addo's wife. Dafiama Busie Issa MP cries over imminent collapse of Upper West Regional Hospital as the hospital lacks official vehicle and stable power supply. Medina MP advises CJ to do the needful over the $5 million bribery scandal. Calls for police protection for lawyer Kwesi Efrifa. And finally, the good old Catholic Standard. Pope Francis out of hospital. Promote peace for development. President Kufuor to chiefs. Bishop Boynai calls for decent discussions on radio. Popular movements call to be protagonists of change. Take advantage of COVID-19. Kwame Pienim urges youth. And that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room sets, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
Did you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchiefs. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. For Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For bill purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. The show is brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. Okay, so this show naturally has a panel mostly made up of newsmakers, but today's panel have really made the news. From last week till this morning, they're still making the news. To my immediate left is the Member of Parliament for the Norton constituency, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa.
Hi, good morning.
Right. Also with me on the show is the Managing Director of STC and a former Minister of the Republic, Nana Akomia. Good morning, Nana.
Morning, Randy.
And so, I'll start off with you. And I think that our discussion last week, exactly same day last week, the aspect about the Ejura issues actually has come up. And so clips, I think about less than a minute clip circulating. And in that particular clip, you could see you and I, go back and forth on the Kaka issue. I think that people took issues with perhaps the adjective you used. And I realized that, I saw that when your attention was drawn to it, you came on Facebook to offer a response in which you spoke about the context and the fact that you did not mean to trivialize it, and that explain the context within which you said it. And then subsequently, I saw that you had made another post now dealing directly with the adjective that you used. Since this is where it all started, I want you to speak to the issue.
Yeah. Thank you, Randy. And good morning to you and Sammy. Very nice black man. Even when it's a bit of a morning, it's still very...
it's still causing trouble.
It's still very fashionable. And yes, like you said, the clip that was shown, me, yourself, and myself, and then I think you were talking about death, and I was saying that I doubted that the riots were caused by just the death, that there was something deeper. But so the word that I used to show that it couldn't be just the killing, but there was some issues about motive. Then taking that 30 seconds, it gave the impression that I was describing the whole unfortunate killing as mere. So that impression, I was sorry. I didn't mean to give that impression, not to trivialize it. So this was, I think, Monday or so.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I'm sure you know who were not trivializing.
When we were having the discussion, I actually even spoke with Marie.
Who?
Marie Amwaku-Buedo.
Who's that?
She also made a post. She's in England.
Oh, okay.
And she's also an activist. She runs her own, show on Facebook.
I see.
So yes, she brought the issue to my attention, and I told her, without even watching the clip, that during the discussion, because maybe I was conversant to the context, so I did it because I would have, called your attention to it. But when I went back and I watched the video, I realized that the choice of mere was inappropriate, and it obviously would give anybody that impression, especially when it was used like 3 times. Yeah. And so at that point, I realized that, look, it was an inappropriate choice, to describe the issue. But once again, if you put it into context, that wasn't it. But I think you've done the right thing. All right. Now, Sammy, as for you, you've made the news multiple times. So, first things first, you are all over the front pages of the newspapers. Some say you clashed. Some say you crash. The appropriate is clash. Okay, so the one who did the crash one, I don't want to get into trouble. I was going to suggest something, you know, the L and R thing, but let's just leave that out. Okay. See, Dana wants to find trouble for me. The custodian says Butala blasts hypocritical in quota black over MP's car loan. And then, okay, this is my favorite one, the Daily Statesman. NDC MPs crash with an R over MP's car loan.
Is it crash or crash?
Clash.
CL.
It's L.
Oh, okay.
The L name is R, no? The no name is problem. Okay, so which is the next one? Okay. I've seen more. Okay, at least we've seen two now. Oh, okay, so two for now. Why have you taken the loan twice, and yet you say that you don't support it? Huh?
Well, thank you very much.
On the street, they say belly full, talk by heart.
Well, thank you, Doc.
Right.
And, good morning to you. Good morning to Nana. Good morning to our distinguished viewers. So, I would want to thank you for the opportunity to bring clarity to my position on the matter relating to the MP's car loan. I waded into the matter with a write-up, which is still available on my Facebook page. And I was very clear. My fundamental position on this whole matter of Article 71 of our Constitution is that there is an urgent need for a total overhaul of the entire Article 71 arrangement. I am on all fours with the Constitution Review Commission, a copy of which I have here, which recommends that the current Article 71 arrangement appears incestuous, and that the situation where the executive approves that of the legislature and the legislature approves the end of service benefits of the executive has been widely criticized, and it does not bode well for our democracy, for the need for all public sector workers to attain equity and to be seen as not engaging in a self-serving endeavor. In other words, the Article 71 office holders, for now, it does appear that we are in bed, and so we're just scratching backs. Scratch your back, I scratch. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So I took the view that it is time to totally overhaul that arrangement. And I've held this view for a while. I've written extensively on this matter. If you go through the parliamentary Hansards for many years, I have espoused that view. Then I also said that the car loan arrangement, which is actually a derivative, you know, it derives from this whole Article 71 arrangement. I said that it is important for there to be equity. I have never said that members of parliament do not deserve vehicles. I've never said, and I must emphasize this point, I have never said that don't give members of parliament vehicles to work with, to carry out public duties. I mean, why will I say that? I have never said that. What I have said is that let there be equity. Let there be uniformity. We cannot have a situation where Article 71 provides that the facilities and privileges for these Article 71 office holders should be provided by the state and charged on the consolidated fund. So for ministers, MMDCs, the CEOs, of the SOEs, state institutions,
Judiciary.
the judiciary, they are not giving car loans. Deductions are not made from their salaries. There's a pool of vehicle. When you are appointed into those Article 71 positions, you assess the pool of vehicle. And I said that it is clear to me that that arrangement, which we have practiced and implemented over the years, seems to be more comfortable to the Ghanaian public. You don't hear a hue and cry over vehicles in the pool for ministers.
Because we don't know.
You know.
Yeah.
But for MPs, because our arrangement is different, where a car loan is secured or procured by the government, led by the finance minister. And this year, the finance minister has laid in Parliament a loan facility from the NIB of 28 million United States dollars, which is accounting for 60% of the facility. MPs, as soon as you enter Parliament, and Nana Komia is here, he will confirm, deductions commence. So since January, they've been deducting from our salaries. We are being told that that will amount to some 40%. And then the $28 million is for 60%. So I said that, look, let's have equity, let's have uniformity. However, if the government argues that they probably don't have the money or they can't work towards that uniformity, then stop the deductions from our salaries and then free us so that we can have our own arrangement with the banks.
That will be more expensive.
Just like our colleagues in the private sector do. So that has been my position. I have never said anywhere that MPs in this 8th Parliament should not be provided for with vehicles. I am being responsive to the agitations. And you see, as public officers, we must be sensitive to the concerns of the people who employ us, who have elected us and sent us to Parliament. And so if there are agitations for reforms and the need for us to reconsider how we do certain things, I only think that it is responsible on our part to be seen being alive to those demands by the people for reforms. And you see, Doc, I think that in this discussion, we should be brutally frank. There is no need to engage in name calling to seek to vilify colleagues and descend into arrogance, which are not helpful. I think that the enemy is underdevelopment, is poverty. The enemy is unemployment. The enemy are the ills, the malaise in our society that we should all come together to fight. That is why in this endeavor, I even sought bipartisan support. So when I filed the motion in Parliament, I got my colleague, the Honorable Patrick Boama from Okwaikwe Central, to support. And I have a copy of the motion we filed here. And the motion is very, very clear. If you look at the motion, private member's motion, it says that this Honorable House rejects the term loan agreement of 28 million United States dollars between the government of Ghana and the National Investment Bank Limited to finance the purchase of vehicles for the members of the 8th Parliament, and in the alternative, request the state to provide for members facilities necessary for the performance of their duties as provided for under Article 71 of the 1992 Constitution. That's our motion. Signed Honorable Patrick Yaboama, Okwaikwe Central Constituency, the MPP Member of Parliament, and I also signed. Very, very clear. So, I mean, the colleague who is out there calling me names and all of that, calling me a hypocrite, and I lack principles, I have benefited twice, I don't want other, especially the new MPs, to benefit. Our motion is very clear. We are not saying that cars should not be provided. And you see, we should take our time and understand colleagues when they espouse views, they take positions on the matter or on particular matters. Let's reach out. Let's find out exactly. Because if you say you may just follow headlines, or, I mean, you probably have been looking for some opportunity to take pot shots. That's what is going to happen. You're just going to create a situation where it will appear, like some of the newspapers are saying, it will appear that within our caucus, we are fighting,
you are clashing and
or
crashing.
we are clashing and crashing and all of that. It's just unfortunate. It's what I needless. I mean, look, this position we have taken, the current Speaker of Parliament, the Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagby, has espoused this position for many years. As recent as 2018, if you go online, he said it, that let's have equity. Don't be treating Parliament differently, and then every 4 years, hey, car loan, then everybody is up in arms, very angry. Let's have the same uniformity. What appears acceptable to the Ghanaian people, what pertains in the executive, in the judiciary, and even beyond, the chief directors, where there's a pool of vehicle, you use it. When I became deputy minister, I inherited a vehicle that my predecessor was using in the President Kufuor era. You know, so the vehicle is in the pool. Though ministers, the ministerial arrangement, if we even come to analyze it critically, you will notice that that will even be more expensive than what pertains now for the MPs, because the ministerial arrangement, and that of the judges as well, they do not only provide them with one vehicle, two vehicles, the saloon vehicle, a cross-country vehicle. They provided with a chauffeur. The maintenance cost is on the government, it's on the consolidated fund. The cost of insurance, the cost of fueling, the provided fuel coupons. In the case of the legislature, MPs are contributing their deductions from their salary. You hire your own driver. You pay for your,
giving an allowance
you pay for your own, you know, fuel. You're not giving.
There are allowances for that.
No, there's no allowance for fuel.
There is.
If you look at the arrangement, the breakdown of our salaries, you don't have that.
But maybe then it has changed.
Yeah,
but there's a driver allowance.
Yes, there's a driver allowance.
Domestic.
There's driver, but there's no fuel. There's no fuel allowance. At least the current parliament. You know, so you see, the fundamental point that I am making is that let us review how some of these things are done, and you see.
So I ask you a question.
It is. Yeah.
I ask you a question, and it has to do with what I think is a non-utilization of the powers that Parliament has.
Yeah.
Now, when this emolument committee reports are brought to you,
Yeah.
I know that there have been occasions where you have disagreed with what was proposed for you, for which reason you have decided not to approve that of the executive until it's changed. Now I raise this because you've spoken about how you, on countless occasions in previous parliaments, have raised this issue, that the current speaker, who had done 7 terms, had raised the same issue. Yet, you have not utilized this power that you have to, for example, say that, hey, we cannot have a situation where we are always treated differently than others. And so, how you provide vehicles for the judiciary and the executive should be same for us. Otherwise, we are not approving this. That's one. Or two, why haven't you utilized the parliamentary question time to invite, let's say, the finance minister and the attorney general, if he is the appropriate person, to tell the House how much money government spends in the 4-year cycle on vehicles for the executive, the maintenance of same, and the provision of, say, fuel, and same for the judiciary. Because you see, at the end of the day, loan, I don't know if they take loans to buy those vehicles, but those things don't come in the public domain. So as we speak, the public doesn't know how much the state spends in securing vehicles for members of the executive or the judiciary, and how much we spend maintaining these vehicles, and how often we have to change this fleet. You know, and all people don't know that.
Yeah.
What people know is the loan agreements that are brought for purposes of your 275.
Yeah.
So my point is that as Parliament, as a body, if indeed this is your position, you have failed to utilize what you have to get the right thing done.
I do know, Doc, that there have been strenuous efforts, perhaps not as strong enough, as potent enough as you will like to see. But if you talk to senior colleagues like the current speaker, and I mean, we had a conclave and he gave us a very rich historical background about all of these matters and efforts they have made over the years, successive governments, to drive home this point and the need for equity across the board, across all three arms of government within the Article 71 spectrum. Perhaps we should be gladdened by what the Finance Committee has done this time round. This is the first time the Finance Committee has said that this will be the last one. Indeed, there was such a groundswell for the motion that the Honorable Patrick Boama and I filed. The many colleagues who really were upbeat about it and were determined to support our motion. I mean, even people like Roxinda Fiamekwo, the Honorable Atu Forsin and others said that if they had even seen our motion earlier, they would have also signed on to it. So now the Finance Committee is saying that this should be the last time that this approach has been adopted. And that is why we then decided after consultations to step down our motion. Okay. Because at least there is some assurance, there is some convergence. We are all now on all fours. We are ad idem that this is not the way to go. It's clearly unpopular. We're just setting ourselves up, you know, for opprobrium, for incessant attacks and all of that. The general public appears more comfortable with the other arrangement. Let us be responsive.
I'm not sure they are more comfortable.
You know,
they don't know.
Well, but
I'm sure the public.
Are you sure they don't know?
I'm sure if the public gets to know how much money we spend in buying vehicles, especially cross-country vehicles, across the arms of government, it will probably become something else.
Well, but for now, we must be responsive to the agitations. And the principle of equity is a principle that really you cannot fault.
Yeah.
I mean, let's treat everybody equally. What pertains in the executive should pertain in the judiciary and in the legislature. So that's the position.
Let me clear something. Let me clear something with you. In the past, we've known that the issue of ex gratia, that there's a determination which is made. The difference has always been number of months per year served. So in some instances it's 4, sometimes it's 3. I remember the controversy when Professor Mills took over. You know, and then that is multiplied by the number of years served and is paid to you as ex gratia. Has that stopped?
That has not stopped per se, except that there is also another component, which is the back pay.
Yeah,
salary arrears.
I know that.
Yes.
I know that. And I made that clarification on this program even on Wednesday.
Okay.
But I've heard some of your colleagues, in fact, yesterday I read Anodompre made the point that you are not paid ex gratia, and that is back pay. And I know that previously, so I meant to read the report again yesterday, but I finished off very late, so I've not been able to read it. That previously, there's the issue of the back pay because you take salary on account.
Yes, because as we speak now, we don't know what terms and conditions.
You are actually taking the salary which was just approved,
Yeah.
but it's
Which was
really
approved
for the year
for the 7th Parliament.
Yes, for the year 2020.
Yeah.
So they say you are taking salary on account. When the president sets up a committee and it determines how much you in fact should have been paid, a practice which I have criticized for a long time.
Yeah.
If say there's a difference of 3,000 Ghana cedis and you serve for 48 months, that difference of 3,000 by 48 months will be paid to you. That's your back pay. But I know that there is this element of ex gratia where a determination is made of certain number of months per year served.
Yeah.
So it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months, it could be 4 months. And then depending on the number of years served, so if you serve 4 years and they say 3 months per year, you get the equivalent of 12 months.
Yeah.
So 3 times 4. And that is paid to you as ex gratia.
Yeah.
Has that stopped?
I want to believe that it's an issue of nomenclature, because I noticed that in the parliamentary records, our Hansard and the terminologies we use, is gratuity.
Yes.
So it's the salary arrears plus gratuity.
Yes.
Which then becomes what people, generally call ex gratia. So it may just be the issue of semantics, nomenclature.
So it's not changed.
I don't think that fundamentally that has changed. But you see,
but that's not even my beef.
I return to the
that's not my beef.
matter.
But the issue you raised about fairness and inequality.
Yeah.
This issue of gratuity or ex gratia raises that point again.
Yes.
That under Article 71, there are persons who hold offices that guarantees them a job until they attain certain ages, whether 60 or 70 or 65.
That's true.
Yet because the Article 71, when this determination is made every 4 years, they are also paid this gratuity.
That's true.
Every 4 years.
That's true.
When some of these persons will retire on their salaries, when these persons will have pensions when they retire, and yet every 4 years, and these are not people who are in fixed term offices, say 4-year term, like some of you in the executive and some of you and you in the legislature.
Yes.
How can you have such a practice?
It's certainly not sustainable. A category of Article 71 office holders who every 4 years also
they get ex gratia.
Yes.
Which category?
When that calculation is made,
which category?
I think we should be open about these discussions.
Which category?
The judges,
the judiciary.
Every 4 years they get ex gratia.
When what is calculated, same is done.
Yeah. So you see.
Are you sure?
Yes.
One second. Because the one available to MPs is because the term of office is 4 years.
Yes.
So ex gratia means take it home. Gratitude. When you come back, like Sami has done, it's another 4 years.
Yes.
But with the judges, the term of office is not 4 years.
Yes.
So why would
yet that arrangement is made to cut across Article 71.
Yes.
Now, if you even go, let me just jump a little. If you even go to, let's say, the Council of State, the Constitution gives you specific offices that ought to be there. So there's a former IG, former Chief Justice, former CDS, all those people. Now, this category of persons are persons who retire on their salary. And then the Constitution says that at least your Council of State must include these persons. And then they've retired on their salary. So the state is paying them a salary until they die. Then they come on the Council of State, you pay them a salary again. You understand me? And then do this car arrangement and things again. So the state, they have retired on their salary. The state is paying them until they, and then they come and serve on the Council of State. It is not an allowance.
So in that case, they are receiving double salaries. But those things can be streamlined.
And you know that the other constitutional bodies, there are some who also, though their tenure is not tied to a 4-year mandate. There are also those who have made quite a cogent argument that why don't you even have a different arrangement for MPs who lose their elections or are leaving, so that if you come to the end of your term, and like Nana Komia opted out, offered to retire, though I thought that he did that prematurely. have a different arrangement for him. And then those of us who are continuing MPs, we can then probably just receive the salary arrears. So in other words, there should be a retirement package for those who are leaving, and then those who are continuing, you have a different arrangement. All of those suggestions make sense. That is why some of us take the view that just have an independent emoluments commission, or better still, amend Act 737, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, so that you give them the mandate to take care of Article 71 office holders. The way it is now, it lends itself to lack of public trust in the whole mechanism. There is no public confidence, and we don't need that. We should be concerned that, you see, every 4 years we are piling the anger. Every 4 years we seem to be stoking the anger. And as the Ntiamu Abedu Committee report clearly stated, the other issue which we must confront, which is leading to all of these agitations, is the disparities, the widening disparities. Now, when they did the analysis, they say it's about 6% when they look at the average conditions of service for Article 71 office holders and the rest of public sector workers. It's just 6%. That is atrocious. That is not something that, as leaders, we are happy about or should be happy about. You know, so have an independent body that you don't have to even be creating or setting up every 4 years. And right from the outset, you know, from the beginning of your term, they will determine what your conditions of service are. And then they will also be working towards these, you know, bridging the gap.
The last time I checked, it is only in Ghana. It's only in Ghana.
Yeah.
That this elite group of persons only get to know how much they earn a few days to exiting office.
A few days.
In the whole world.
Yeah.
It's only in Ghana.
Yeah. You see, the United Kingdom had an arrangement, that's the House of Commons, that looked quite similar to what we had. But in 2009, when the MP's expenses scandal broke, they decided to amend their system. They used to have the fees office at the House of Commons, and they, together with the leadership of the Commons, decide on the conditions of service for members of Parliament. But clearly, it had become so incestuous, there was conflict of interest, it was as though there was some insider trading taking place. And the general public was outraged by it. They quickly moved away since 2010. So they created the IPSA, the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority, which is now determining their working conditions. The politicians have been removed from the system. So some of us are saying that, look, let us just, be more responsive. And I have read His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's very erudite, very inspiring op-eds on this matter. And I don't want to believe that because he may have been a beneficiary of this in the past, so he should be descended upon because he is saying that, look, let's have an independent body. It should be permanent. You don't have to be setting up these committees every 4 years. It makes a lot of sense. Brilliant. Look, every society seeks to reform. Every society seems to do things better. So the fact that I may have benefited from some of these arrangements in the past doesn't mean that I cannot, offer. I'm even better placed now, with the benefit of hindsight and all of that, experience and all of that, to be able to make suggestions, make recommendations. Because why? We all want the systems to be better. Our current president, he was Attorney General. When he became flag bearer, became president, he said that, look, Attorney Generals cannot really have the courage to prosecute their colleague cabinet ministers. Even the perception out there is that Attorney General, you cannot be trusted because you are selected amongst your colleagues to deal with your colleagues, prosecute them, fight corruption aggressively. So he mooted the idea of the Office of Special Prosecutor. Does that make him a hypocrite? Because he was Attorney General when that arrangement didn't exist. So we all seek, to better the system, to improve, every society seeks to achieve that. If we don't become a society that seeks to improve, that seeks to do things better, you know, and to be seen to be responding, to be reforming, then, I mean, what's the point? Is it so? Randy, I'm sure you are conversant with the Constitution Review Commission report. I think that they dealt with this matter, you know, very, 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 very brilliantly, you know, very brilliantly. And we should go back.
As a country, we've made this work useless. We spent a lot of money, a lot of time on this, and we've made the whole document useless.
It's totally sacrilegious, Randy. Totally sacrilegious. If you look at the recommendations at page 294, it says, the Commission recommends the establishment of an independent emoluments commission, IEC, as an independent constitutional body to determine the emoluments of all public officers. Recommendation for legislative changes. The Commission recommends that Fair Wages and Salaries Commission Act 2007, Act 737, be amended to accord with the proposed constitutional changes.
So why didn't you do this?
Our white paper accepted this in total, in totality.
But there were things you didn't accept.
You know, yes, those are other things that, you know, we can discuss. But this one was accepted along the line, you know, of all the hurdles that the constitutional review process. But I think we need to jump those hurdles. And you see, let's not underestimate these matters. When you follow, you know, the commentary and the concerns of the youth, even other public sector workers, the TUC and all of that. Look, I have spoken to a lot of seniors who were around when June 4 happened. They say that, look, the animosity, the anger against the political class, you know, is nowhere near what the situation is now. You know, if you compare that era, those days with now. So we should not play ostrich and pretend that these are not major issues that are of concern to the people. And some of us are only calling for reforms, that we have it within our power to effect change. So let's do that. We are not saying anybody should be denied what they are due as public officers.
We should do what is right.
Yes.
All right, we're back to take the views of a fourth-term MP on this issue.
I says AC. Trese, it will gold-plated things. Yeah, the copper pipes pa pebi na ye. Gas ya, and for how biam roda sanibia, and a goom. And yet the day, Tanso of 4-in-1 filter system. 80 from a free mubano. Aye kroje. AC, yeah, the horsepower neto. I sense gas a 2.5. Aye 2.5. Kululu pianim. Yeah, the ababimo. Aye high sense AC super promo. Date near 26 July. I come him 8 August 2021. Upe Asia F. Na eche, na chili, na power. Aye high sense AC. Comfort to me. 26 July. I come him 8 August. Madam High Sense. Matiti Susa. 5 years warranty. And that's what you are. High Sense and Kwan to me as amount. High Sense. Everyday prices for everyday people.
Did you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use floor disposable handkerchiefs. Floor disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, floor disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. The Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For bill purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
Bringing you Africa's creme de la creme's classiest hangouts, award shows, end-of-year parties, wedding, graduations, birthdays, fashion or corporate events. Metro Social has got you covered. We present Pizzazz with Je ne sais quoi,
give us a call and we will be there. Whilst at that, join us on Metro Social every Friday at 9:30 p.m. and a repeat on Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on Metro TV.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have the Honorable Sammy Okujatua Blackwell and the Honorable Nana Akomia. Nana, of hypocrisy, clashes and crashes.
Sammy, can I look at your
yes, the motion?
Yeah. Okay, let me just deal with some peripheral issues. Then I'll get to the main issue. The first one is that Sammy says he's disappointed. I left Parliament too early. I didn't leave Parliament too early. I was there for 4 terms. Yeah, no, this is your
only 4.
This is your 3rd term or 2nd?
Your colleagues are still going strong.
It's only a chairman service.
Yeah.
But this is your 3rd term.
Yes.
This is your 3rd term.
Yes. It's not
you chop your 4 terms and then come and let's talk about it.
Don't you get it?
I mean,
when it refers to
then,
your 4 as premature, you don't get it.
Yeah.
No.
You still don't get it.
No.
Because you're
the man
young, agile,
is telling you that your 4
benefited from the experience.
It's too early. You still don't get it.
No. I know. I get the mischief that it should not suggest that I intend to go beyond 4. No. That's where he's driving at. No. I have not made that determination. I haven't made that
chop
determination.
Your 4 terms and then come and let's have.
He has to break Bagbin's record.
But you see, when I was in Parliament for 4 years out of power when we were just 61. Very, very exciting, but between 1997 and then 2000. And then 2001 up to 2008, we were in office, the Kufuor government. And so we're part of the executive. And then we left office in 2009. So from 2009 to 12, I was a member of Parliament again. I think the change, made the parliamentary work a bit tedious for me. So there you are, a member of the executive, a deputy minister, minister of state. You have a chief director, a slew of directors, secretaries, all of that working with you. And then you transit quickly to another member of parliament with your car boot as your office and all of that. Now you have offices, but you transit from all of that infrastructure to support you to your car boot as your office. So the work became tedious. And my attention to the constituency, when you are invited to functions and so on, maybe 5 functions in a month, you attend 2. So you yourself, you could see that your enthusiasm is gone down. And when people would invite you to an inauguration of a graduation of a day nursery, you go with enthusiasm, and there's a lot of people to grace the occasion because the MP is coming. Now, even when they invite you to big church anniversaries, you have the assemblyman going to represent you. So you could see that, and that's what happened. So I thought it was a good time to exit. So when you are also 4 years, you may, and 4 years in Parliament.
4 terms, you mean?
Sorry, 4 terms in Parliament is not how many people. You can literally count the number of people who've done more than 4 terms. Now, this matter of President Mahama, about I think the problem with President Mahama's take, the problem that some of us have, is that he talked about the setting up of a permanent emoluments committee.
Yeah.
But like yourself, you have told us, this was the recommendation
of the
in 2010 or so. Yeah. And at that time, President Mahama was a vice president. And subsequently, he became president. So for about 6 years after this recommendation had been made of the need to set up a permanent emoluments committee, he did nothing about it. So when it comes in now to reiterate the same suggestion, the obvious question, and that's what Randy too was asking you, that why didn't you?
You know, he faced constitutional hurdles. People took the process to court and all of that.
Which process?
He had the whole constitutional review process.
No. Look, this is a huge document. There may be some you may decide that this one might be a bit more complex. But setting up of an emoluments committee, there's no legal barrier.
No, you have to, Article 71, you need a referendum. You have to amend
Article
the Constitution.
71 is an entrenched
It's an entrenched clause. So,
but this is something that you can easily do. There will be no objection. Because the current practice...
But to do, Nana, I guess the thing was that to do a referendum on
just one item.
No, you have to look at...
He wanted a holistic...
But you see, for this, let me see the document again. You see, for this whole document...
You can't get everybody agreeing on everything.
That cost the country millions of dollars to produce. And not even one single recommendation. It's difficult. So when those of...
And it's 11 years now.
Yes. So those people who've had a chance to do something about this document and not a single one. Because you are recommending the same thing that is in this document. It's been there for 11 years. Because what is recommending now? It calls for a referendum. Yeah, it calls for the same process. So that's why people have a difficulty with President Mahama's take on it. Now, Sami, with your take, that's why I ask you for. I mean, calling for members of parliament to be given vehicles and be classified as duty vehicles. It's not a new call. You yourself, you have said that Alban Bagman has made that call several times. I remember many other calls that have been made in the same direction. When there's a public outcry, members of parliament say, we are actually entitled to the duty vehicles. So giving us a loan is actually shortchanging us. They make that argument all the time. I think the only worry with your take at this time is the bit that you said that MPs should be allowed to go and procure their own loans. I think that's where the difficulty comes. That if you are just stuck to the wording of this thing, that the loan should be rejected, MPs should insist on duty vehicles as they are entitled to as members of Article 71. That would have been fine. But I think you went on to say that MPs should be allowed to procure their. I think that's where the ambiguity is. But Randy, the issues that Sami raised, these are age-old issues. Many of the commentators agree that something has to be done about them. But the problem is the usual inertia. The problem is the usual inertia. And I've given President Mahama as an example, where we know what is right. Mustering the political will to do it, it's what has always been the problem. And otherwise, the issues are very germane. Sami talked about the business of the executive approving the facilities and emoluments for Parliament, and Parliament doing the same for the executive. So, straightforward. It's just scratch my back, I scratch your back. I mean, so it comes, the executive, there's a proposal for the executive to, so much should be approved for the executive, and so much should be approved for the legislature. The legislature will say, oh, give us this, give us that, so we can approve yours. So scratch my back, scratch your back. And that's what has been happening. I mean, it's clear if this arrangement is what is going to pertain. The framers of the Constitution maybe thought that the outcome would be different. How they thought the outcome would be different, I don't know. Because if you have this arrangement where I am approving yours and you are approving mine, then we'll just horse trade so that all of us will come out better. It's just, so I don't know why they put that in the Constitution. And we also, I mean, we can't do otherwise if that's what is in the Constitution. But even then, the practice has made the matter unnecessarily even more difficult. The Constitution calls for the setting up of a committee to determine the emoluments and privileges and facilities for members of Parliament. It is very clear that what the framers of the Constitution intended was that this committee should come at the beginning of the Parliament.
Yes.
At the beginning of the Parliament. But for some reason, there's only been maybe 4 or 5 head of states. Maybe they can answer. For some reason that those of us who have never been presidents before cannot understand, is that the presidents that we have had, from Jerry Rawlings to Akufo-Addo, have implemented this emoluments thing, not at the beginning of the parliamentary term, but at the end. And why they have chosen to do that is only those who have been presidents who can answer. President Rawlings did the same. He brought the emolument committee, what was it called?
Green Street.
Green Street, right in 1990. 2000, year 2000, the end of the parliamentary term. When he had 4 years to do that, President Kufuor did the same. Brought Green Street.
Chinwe
Hesse. The latest one came last year. Yeah. Why they decide to wait till the very last 6 months or last 3 months of a 4-year period, I don't know. But that creates the difficulty. So, in fact, in the times that I was a member of Parliament, the emoluments thing was approved on the last day.
Interestingly, Nana, you know, if you check out President Mills and President Akufo-Addo, they announced the setting up of a committee earlier.
Yeah.
But the work of the committee came at the same last minute.
Yeah.
Well, I think with President Mills, what I remember is that what Chinwe Hesse had proposed, there was an outcry. Now, there's usually an outcry because the approval process doesn't get the proper scrutiny. I mean, if you're approving an issue, a big issue like this on the last day of the 4 years,
Committee of the whole.
Yeah.
the last day of the 4 years,
No media.
there is not going to be enough scrutiny. I mean, it's just because a lot of the time,
enough copies are not even made for members.
but beyond the copies, they come and tell you the main issues. But you see, at that point, you are interested in what you are getting. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You are interested in what you are getting.
What is in it for me?
Yeah.
What's in it for me? And once they announce what is in it for you and you are happy, you are not now going to open what is in it for somebody. You understand? So, a lot of the things get away.
Are you aware that with this current one, the car loan for both Council of State and the MPs, the recommendation by the committee was 80,000?
Okay.
Yes.
And it's been increased to 100. But did the committee recommend that 60% should be absorbed?
Yes.
Okay. So, because of the timing of the setting up of the committee, it doesn't allow enough time for debate, public acceptance, and all of that. And so you find out that some of the things that are approved, we are not even able to implement. The current example is the emoluments for the first ladies. I'm sure if there was a bit of time and the MPs had maybe 3 weeks, 1 month to look at it and gotten the feedback from the public, we would have avoided this situation now where we are all, there's a refund here, there's cause for refund, there's this, there's denial, fighting among ourselves in public. Another example is the provision of homes for presidents. It hasn't been implemented. And I'm sure if there had been thorough public discussion, all the ramifications would have been looked at and some modification made. So it comes into the public 6 months, 7 months after. And then there's a public reaction and then we can't even do it. So even with the current difficulties as they have, equity and so on, if the emoluments committee is set up at the beginning of the term, many of these issues will be avoided. Now, because you don't set it up in the beginning of the term, and you do it at the last year, so then there is back pay. And that agitates the public. So the salary that Sami Okujeto and his colleagues in Parliament are receiving now, these are the salaries determined by the committee. Okay, let me not even use this 4 years. The ones that you received in 2017,
Yes.
2017,
Yes.
up to 2020,
Yes.
were the package that had been decided for the previous parliament,
Yes.
which is
Parliament.
2013 to 2016.
Yes.
That's the package agreed for them, also last minute. Now, because it's done in 2016, when you come in 2017, it's like, this is the recent one. So they start you on that one.
On account.
But it's not yours.
salary, yes.
So let's say it's 30 cedis determined for as salary and whatever for MPs between 2013 and 2016, 4 years. Then you come in 2017. There's supposed to be another committee set up in 2017 to look at all the things, public sector wages, fair wages and salaries, what is happening, inflation, and determine your condition and salaries for the next 4 years, and provide for adjustments that can be made, whether it's 5% increase a year, 10%, or tie it to what is agreed with government and public, whatever. But then it's fixed. But that is not done. So you are paid what the previous parliament was paid until the last year. So when the last year the committee decides you should be getting 35 cedis, you've gotten 30 cedis from January 2017 to December 2020. So there's 5 cedis difference every month. That has to be paid. Now that lump sum, what we call the back pay, generates a lot of controversy simply because of the delay in setting up the
Now, guess what? You say the same thing about the public and their anger and everything with the Article 71 class and all that. Last week I raised this issue, and I'll put it out again, just to support what you just said. The thing about taking 4 years to make this determination, and how we deal with those on the public sector payroll. Now, this is a memorandum of agreement. Guess what? The Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee, PSJSNC, comprising government, represented by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, and Ministry of Finance on the one part, and organized labour associations and institutions on the other, have today, Thursday the 1st of July, 2021, concluded negotiations and reached agreement as follows: that the 2021 base pay on the single spine salary structure is 4% over the 2020 base pay, that is 10 cedis 19 pesos, with pay points relativity of 1.7%. That the base pay for 2021 is 10 cedis 60 pesos per day. That the 2022 base pay shall be 7% over the 2021 base pay. That the base pay for 2022 shall be 11 cedis 34 pesos per day with pay point relativity of 1.7%. That the effective date for implementation of the 2021 base pay is 1st January 2021. That the effective date for implementation of the 2022 base pay shall be 1st January 2022. And that finally, 7. That arrears arising out of the implementation of the 2021 base pay, that is January to June, because this decision was reached on the 1st of July, shall be paid in 5 installments between August and December 2021. So when it comes to the public sector people, you are able to, within a few months, determine for them 2021 and 2022.
Yeah.
But it will take you 4 years to determine for just Article 71.
So what that creates in the mind of the public is that there is some motive. Why is it that with the larger public sector, because this Article 71, you're talking of maybe 100 to 500 people. The larger public sector, you are able to determine their salaries and wages and all of that over a week, 1 week of negotiations. And then the Article 71, 500 people, we are not able to do that for 4 years. So if I was a member of the public, I would think there's some motive for that. And you can't fault the public.
And there are 6 months of back pay. You are paying it in 5 installments.
Yeah.
Then they see that for others, you give them 48 months.
Yeah, in bulk.
In bulk.
So you create problems for yourself. With the polity, we create problems for ourselves. So if President Akufo-Addo, still as president, would set up the emoluments committee, because what we are discussing now is actually for the period 2016 to 2020. The period 2021 to 2024 has not been done. So what they are being given is based on what they owed Parliament, the Parliament that just left. If President Akufo-Addo would set up the committee this year, that alone, many of these issues that have come since President Rawlings' time will be avoided. And he has the chance now to break that chain and achieve for the country a better outcome in terms of these emoluments for MPs. Your vehicles. When the democracy is terminated, military coup, whatever, the other arms of government stay in place.
Yeah.
The executive changes from a civilian to a military. The judiciary stays in place. The public service stays in place. The only organ that doesn't stay in place is the Parliament.
Yeah.
So when the democracy is restored, the main change is that there's a Parliament representing the people of Ghana to make the laws. So anything that happens to the Parliament becomes the lightning rod. Because the executive has been in place since day one, since independence. So people do not see any significant change. It's the Parliament that comes into place that people then see, but these are the people that we voted for. They are now riding in big cars. They are now living in posh areas. They are now getting huge back pay. They are now getting huge ex gratia and so on. Whereas the executive may be doing the same, or they have done the same. The judiciary may have done the same, but it hasn't come to public attention. So it's unfortunate that MPs, because these vehicles, the executive get vehicles. I mean, when I was a member of the executive, every executive has a saloon car for city ride, and then a cross-country vehicle for travels outside. The problem is that they use the cross-country vehicles in the city. So
with the lights and sirens.
so they themselves, they contribute to the public perception. But you are not, but this thing, it can easily be sorted out. That if you are a minister or deputy minister or whatever, in your ride in Accra, going from your house to the ministry and back, you have a saloon car. This gas guzzling 5.7 liter thing. And what is even more annoying, when they go to functions, they go to drive from ministry to IPS or UPSA or something. Then they leave their engines on.
You don't buy the fuel.
But if you don't, do you have to flaunt it in the face of the people?
Yes.
Why should you do that? So even if you don't buy the fuel, Randy, even if you don't buy the fuel, should you be responsible? Because it's taxpayers' money. When you go to...
When people are leaving in their homes, the first thing they think about is turning off the lights and the air conditioners.
Yeah.
When they go and stay in hotels, they will leave the AC on. The room for chill by the time will come, because they are not, somebody else will pay the bill.
It's terrible.
So we ourselves, you are not using the saloon. I don't know if a presidential fiat should come that you shouldn't use your cross-country vehicle. And indeed, these vehicles They even the engines get damaged when you are riding in traffic and low gear.
But for our terrible roads, even to many parts of the country, you even require cross country. Yeah. But for our terrible roads.
Yeah. But so every minister gets 2 vehicles. The MP deserves it because you're also an important and equal arm of government. So you deserve duty vehicles. But because of we don't have too much money, so they say, look, we can't give you the vehicles like we do, so we'll give you a loan. But it's in the minds of the public. What they see is that they were with you, you were using this 18-year-old car, you went to Parliament 6 months time, you are coming with a big cross country. That's the optics, that's what they see. The rest is a loan, is not fair, they don't see it. So there's a perception issue that engagement with the public may because otherwise it's really not fair. To the MP. Why am I paying for my duty vehicle? But to the public, there your 14-year-old car, they vote for you 6 months time, there you come with your huge 5.7 liter. These days when you are going to campaign, I don't know if you're a safe seat, so maybe they don't do that for you, but some of these places say, Randy Abe, you've come. Well, you're a nice man, we know you. You're on TV, you do well, you have a doctorate. We think you can represent us. But listen, when we vote for you, then they list all these items.
Things you get.
You get a big cross-country vehicle. You get so amount of dollars for rent for 4 years. You get so back pay. You get so ex gratia. They list all of that for you. You get a diplomatic passport. So look at what we are going to do for you.
And sort us out now. That is, I mean, the two, in our discussion, two things have come up. I'd just like us to look at the...
Let me just conclude.
Okay.
So it's an issue. And it also adds to the cost of political campaign.
True.
The 4-year ex gratia, it's a lot of public disagreement with it. That, I mean, I went to Parliament for 4 terms. At the end of every 4 terms, after the so-called the relevant committee has been set up, I get my ex gratia. They usually will do 3 months times 4, or 4 months times 4. So I got it 4 times. Because that is the arrangement that is available. The public has a lot of disagreement with that. That they believe that there's a system where if you're going to spend 16 years, I mean, if you lose your elections in 4 years, you are going out of Parliament. So if there's ex gratia, pay it to you. But if you win and you come back for a second term, your ex gratia there should be nothing like ex gratia for you. If you come back for a 3rd term, there should be nothing like 4th term, 5th term, 6th term. So Bagbin is collected about 8 times or so. So when you are finally leaving, whether you step down or you lost elections, then but you see, if it's going to be calculated after 16 years, it will be the same.
Same, yes.
Or even more. Yeah, it will be 3 months times 16.
It will be deferred payment. It's just the time that you're paying.
Deferred payment, But maybe that may be more acceptable because the ex gratia is supposed to be thank you for the work.
After service.
You haven't finished the service. So why are we thanking you? And then you come back and then you finish 4 years, we thank you. Then you come back. So it's something that we have to look at to see how we can finance it.
I'm sure the public does not even know that about the judiciary. And the 2016 report even touched on it. You know, let me just read this to you, two parts. And this first part on ex gratia, it says the timing of the setting up of the committee, which often occurs at the end of the term of governments, tend to create the impression that the committee is set up to determine the ex gratia of politicians. Ex gratia is a form of payment made by an employer to an employee at the end of his or a working contract as a thank you in quote gesture. It is at the discretion of the employer as a non-contributory end of service payment. There were divided opinions on the payment of ex gratia to Article 71 office holders. there was a public perception that the politicians were the only group who received ex gratia, even though it was made clear during the consultation that other Article 71 office holders also receive ex gratia. Now, it says, given the public disenchantment with the payment of ex gratia to Article 71 office holders, the IEC, that's the Independent Emolument Commission, when established, should take a critical look at the payment of ex gratia to them. In the absence of the Independent Emolument Commission, the status quo should be maintained as provided for in the formula. Then, now listen to this. Members of the judiciary who retire on their salaries and also receive ex gratia. It says, the practice of double dipping, this is how the commission described it, the committee. The practice of double dipping.
They didn't want to use double salary.
Yes, double dipping. Maybe credit lieutenantship. Involving the payment of ex gratia in addition to justices of the Superior Court of Judicature retiring on their salaries should be discontinued. But guess what they did again? However, given that incumbent justices may have acquired or vested right to ex gratia payment, those benefiting must continue to enjoy it, but it must be made personal to them. The benefits should not be extended to new justices appointed to the Superior Courts of Judicature. So this is what 2016 said. But 2020 is also gone on the same line. So these are people who retire on their salaries. Yet every 4 years, when we say we are paying those who have done 4 years and they might go or not come back, we also pay ex gratia to judges, from High Court to Supreme Court.
What is the reason for that?
I don't know.
You see, the process lends itself to abuse. If you had an independent body, you won't get.
But in any case, you see, a committee setup is not bound by a decision taken by the previous committee if it believes that the practice is wrong. But they have not had. Look, the governments in this Fourth Republic have not had
the courage
because it involves the judiciary.
Oh, but I'm sure even the judges, when this becomes a public issue and negotiations are made with them, they will see that this is grossly unfair. I mean, that's why I'm saying what brought it about. You see, with the MPs, because of the 4-year tenure, you can understand that there's a break. The judge's tenure is not 4 years. Or is it 4 years?
No.
Judge, you stay there to 70 or so.
70.
So you can be there for 10 years, 15 years, and so on. So even if you are going to pay, but you retire on your salary. Anyway, so you are still employed. So I don't understand. Maybe there's some other consideration that is not available to us, because I don't understand why the person who will retire on their salary is also getting ex gratia every 4 years?
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
And then a bit about the Council of State. So people, there are people, not all of them, but there are maybe 10 or so people who are there ex officio by reason of their former office. So let's say the Chief Justice, former Chief Justice. So you retire on your salary as a former Chief Justice. When you then go on to the Council of State and you are getting your salary as a retired Chief Justice and you are getting your salary as a member of the Council of State, obviously you will see that it's not fair. So what has to be done is to do the reconciliation. Which one is higher?
And they are giving a loan.
For a
4x4.
A loan means you pay back. But the salary thing, they should look at the two. Then you choose the one you like, whether your retirement salary as a former Chief Justice or your salary as a member of the council. That's what happens to MPs who become ministers. When you're a member of parliament, you get a salary as a member of parliament. When you are appointed a minister of state, you get a salary as a minister of state. You choose the one you like. Of course, the one that is higher. So you choose but because of the delay and so on, people are appointed ministers, they keep receiving their salaries. There's change into ministers, and because of you don't have a cut-off point. So if you're not careful, you'll be doing a salary, they'll continue paying you as MP and they'll continue paying you as minister. And that's what I know happened to a lot of so these are little things that we can clean. We can clean from the system. But like has been said, when we get an independent emoluments committee, permanent, and there will be equity, and there will be public discussion, so that what is accepted, it's something that we can live by. Because this thing, every 4 years, it happens. Every 4 years, it happens.
Now, let's move on to the educational sector. It appears that on the floor of Parliament, issues about contracts in the education sector has come up. And I saw, once again, a write-up by you, where you indicate that the GET Fund has going to put some money, 10 million or so, into an investment and has not been able to get the money back due to the collapse, the financial sector crisis.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct. And it's from this audit report, the report of the Auditor General of the Public Accounts of Ghana, public boards, corporations, and other statutory institutions for the period ended 31st December 2020. We received this in Parliament a few days ago, and I've read the entire, over 700 pages. If you come to page 232, says that GET Fund had invested an amount of 10 million Ghana cedis with SIC FSL with an initial maturity date of 22nd November 2018 at a rate of 20% per annum. This was not honored on maturity. The investment was rolled over with newly agreed terms of payment. SIC FSL could not honor the terms agreed, and as at the time of the audit, the latest correspondence from the fund to SIC FSL dated 3rd February 2020 had not been responded to. Our checks revealed that the fund manager was greatly affected by the financial sector cleanup exercise, as some of its counterparties were directly affected. In the meantime, the investment committee of the board has requested a meeting as a matter of urgency with the MD of SIC FSL, at which the executive committee of the board and the external solicitors will be present. The meeting will determine the next line of action.
So the GET Fund board agreed at a board meeting that they should go and put GET Fund money into an investment to get 20% every year. 10 million.
And GET Fund, at the time that you have all this crisis in the education sector, look at the congestion with the double track. We don't have textbooks in our schools. There are schools under trees. And you see,
just hold on. I want us to go to Parliament. We'll box all together.
Okay.
Just hold on.
Okay.
So let's check out. There were parliamentary questions about the PASCO. That's how we used to call it, Nana. Yes. The PASCO. And then the heavenly mathematical set.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Education if Mrs. Bluegrass Group Limited has supplied 853,009 units of CAPEC scientific mathematical instruments to the Ministry of Education at an estimated cost of 63,975,675 Ghana cedis at a unit cost of 75 Ghana cedis. Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry on 11th October 2019 signed a contract with Mrs. Bluegrass Group Limited to supply a total number of 853,009 CAPEC scientific mathematics instruments prescribed by the West African Examination Council for senior high schools at a unit cost of 75 cedis. The contract was amended and signed by both parties on 22nd October 2020 to extend the deadline for submission of the mathematical instruments to 19th January 2021. Mrs. Bluegrass Group Limited has supplied 416,060 scientific mathematical instruments to the tune of 31,294,500 cedis out of the total quantity to be supplied per contract, hence breaching the contract under section 24(1) of the General Conditions of Contracts. Due to this, the contract has been terminated.
Yes, Honourable Member, any supplementary?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Indeed, I have many supplementary questions. Mr. Speaker, during the vetting of the Minister for Education in February 2021, the Parliament's Appointments Committee posed a question with regards to the said matter to the Minister. The Minister responded as follows: that though there was a delay as a result of COVID-19 emergence, the gadgets, in this case, the mathematical sets, have arrived and distribution is ongoing. When did the gadgets arrive? When were they distributed? How were they distributed? And the 375,765 students who sat for WASI 2020 have access to the gadgets.
Choose one supplementary question at a time. You choose one supplementary question. What you ask is about, you were asking about 5 questions in one.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. I abide by your guidance. Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask the Minister, when the gadgets arrived and whether they were available to students for the purpose for which the contract was signed between the Ministry and Bluegrass Limited.
Well, we'll take when they arrived and when they were distributed to the members, students. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I'm fully aware that this is the House of Records. I don't have the date with me, and I don't want to say any dates that I haven't checked. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I'll look for the date and I'll submit it to the House so that the record will reflect as to the date that it arrived and when the distribution took place.
Yes, Honourable Member, any more supplementary?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Can the Minister tell us if the students who took the WASI exams in August 2020 had use of the said mathematical sets?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, I have to check the timeline. And as I indicated, I'll submit it to the House.
Yes, Honourable Member, any further supplementary?
Mr. Speaker, I believe the Minister is being evasive.
Honourable Member, that's not fair.
Very well. I withdraw.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask the Minister why the contract with Bluegrass Limited was terminated.
Why the contract was terminated? Yes, Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, in my response to this question, I indicated that they asked for extension, the extension was given, and still they did not supply, so for non-compliance. I indicated this.
Yes, it's in your answer to the question. Breach of the contract under Section 24(1)(a) of the General Conditions of Contracts. Due to this, the contract has been terminated. Yes.
All right, so that was the Q&A session in Parliament between the Honourable Apak and the Honourable Minister of Education. The bit about the past questions will show to you pretty soon. But Sammy, yeah, so on education, there's GET Fund. There's a scientific mathematical set, and it was supposed to be for WASI students.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there's the issue of the PASCO, 68 million CD PASCO.
Doc, we need to be very, very careful in this country. And a lot of the revelations emerging about the financial management of our country are deeply, deeply troubling. We cannot continue on this trajectory. I mean, I have been asking myself, of all the priorities in the education subsector, are past questions a priority, providing past questions? You have reviewed the curriculum. You have not been able to provide textbooks for students for more than 3 years and running. Instead of providing textbooks, which is, I mean, so basic, it is the first thing you do to prepare students. If we talk about quality education, you must provide textbooks when you have reviewed the curriculum and therefore rendered old textbooks in the system redundant. Then you choose to procure past questions. And Randy, what is so special about the printing of past questions? That it is so sourced. And I recall all...
The minister gave an explanation.
I recall all the things we were told about how sole sourcing is not good for this country and it will be so rarely used under an Akufo-Addo presidency.
The minister gave an explanation.
I mean,
explanation. They say that Kingdom Books have secured the exclusive right, that the PASCO belongs to WAEC, and Kingdom Books have secured the exclusive right from WAEC, and that's why they had to deal with them. So if other publishers also go and secure the right from WAEC, they will include them.
Look, WAEC is an agency under the Ministry of Education.
WAEC?
Yes.
How?
WAEC.
You mean WAEC Ghana?
The Ghana office is considered as one of the agencies of the Ministry of Education.
Really?
Yes. Yes, the Ghana office.
Because there's some government support.
It's government support. Their headquarters, government of Ghana built it.
Right.
Yes. So it's one of the 21 or 23 agencies under the Ministry of Education. And as we asked the minister in the supplementary, it was the Honorable Telabi who asked that question. Why didn't you deal directly with WAEC? He could not provide. He was so evasive. He could not answer that question.
Which one?
Why didn't the ministry deal directly with WAEC?
But they said that there's
he didn't in Parliament. He didn't answer that question because WAEC cannot tell the ministry that there's some.
But Randy has said he had the answer. Randy, that's what you just said.
Not on the floor.
Not on the floor in Parliament. I was in Parliament.
Oh, okay. So where did he give the answer?
Well, I'm sure it's all the post-facto rationalizations that are going on. Look. And what is even more troubling and heart-wrenching, is that just between 1 year, the cost has gone up by 32%.
It appears that that is also not factual, because if you look at copies of the agreement, it suggests that the one for 2020 was 71 cedis and 25 pesos. and then the 2021 is 78 cedis. So it's actually a difference of about 7 cedis.
No, you are looking at per unit, but when you look at the quantities in terms of the volumes.
Yeah, because the unit price on a contract is 78 and then 71 cedis 25 per person. That's in the two agreements.
Yes.
The unit price.
Yes.
Yes.
But
when you look at the quantities.
The quantities.
Yes. The quantities, you have 361,755 for the 20. I think that's the 2021, and then in 2021 is increased to 446,954.
Yeah.
So in terms of the total price, you're looking at 25.7 million. That's for 2020, and then 34.
And now it's
862.
Yeah.
Yes.
What he provided in Parliament is 33.641 million.
Okay, that's different from what the agreement here says. Yes.
But page 18 of the other paper, what he read in Parliament is 33.
We will go with what is the hazard. That's what has been said on the record.
33.6. Yeah. You know, but really, Doc, why are we doing this? This 68 million Ghana cedis could have constructed at least 12 e-blocks. Just put it in context, at least 12. Since President Akufo-Addo became president, he has not started a new e-block, not one.
Are you suggesting that the PASCOs are not important? They are past questions with the answers and with the supervisor and vigilators' comments.
Look. Order of priority. When you don't have textbooks, you provide textbooks first. It's fundamental. All the educationists who have spoken on this matter, from Professor Dai Mensah to, name them, they have all said, you provide textbooks first. It's so basic.
Are you a Deputy Minister of Education?
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. When you provide the textbooks to the students, is it theirs? They take it away?
No, it's for the school. You use
and you leave it for the school.
You leave it in the
but
library.
The past questions are for the exclusive use of the students. They take them away.
Again, that is another controversy.
Yes.
There are some students, I was listening to City FM yesterday, the morning show. Some students said they were asked to leave it behind. That is not for them.
Okay.
So they are surprised that there was...
We are procuring again.
We procured again. And really, it should have been left so this will be a one-off procurement so that we make savings, even if we think that procuring textbooks. And then it's the same procurement chobo mindset when you come to bluegrass. Certainly when a grass is not green, you won't be surprised to see all of these, disastrous outcomes.
Well, bluegrass will really look good.
Bluegrass, massets, and I recall that when the agreement came to Parliament, we demanded that what is so special? We want to know about this. And look, when we went to other countries, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, we did the checks. They decided to deal with the CAPEC company directly, and they got it for cheaper. We decided to use a middleman, this same Sputnik V middleman mindset. So we created Bluegrass, which has no track record. And we said it, if you get the Hansard. I remember saying it, that we will come to this point because we are missing the opportunity to deal directly with the manufacturers as other WAEC member countries are doing and getting it for less. We are going to use a company that has no track record. And here we are. They could not even supply up to 50%. The reason why we approved this in Parliament under a certificate of urgency, and they came for tax waivers, that is what even has not come up in this discussion. Okay. It's not been factored in. We gave them tax waivers. So the profit margin will be bigger for these businessmen. And we were told that for the 2020 WASI, the students need it. And you see, these mathematical instruments, we've all been helping. I'm sure Donald Nana Kumia, when he was MP, provided. I provide every year. Many MPs do it. It's become a tradition. Even recently on social media, the youth were saying they are tired of those pictures. They're just every night when exams are coming, they see MPs supplying mathematical sets. I mean, and it has not affected performance. The students, the teachers are not complaining. All of a sudden, we are told that all of you back off.
The math sets that you provide are not scientific and not WIAC approved.
Look, the only I have seen, you can go online, viewers can go online and check this KPEC scientific mathematical instrument. It's just a mathematical instrument plus a calculator, that's all. There's nothing unique, nothing special about it. I'll get you a sample after this program. This is nothing. That should cost us 75 Ghana cedis.
Minus tax.
And look at
minus tax.
Yes, minus tax. And look at all the controversies. And when we are not surprised, because during the appointment committee, we have been briefed by all the parties involved. And look, I mean, because of sometimes possible legal and because you have only been told one side, and all of that. But it's thinking. You know that the gentleman who supplied it was picked up. It was reported by the press, and I must commend the Herald newspaper. Larry Dogbe followed this closely. You know, he brought us a lot of documentation. Sharing of profits became an issue between the young man.
Okay,
let's leave that. Yes, you know, but you see,
sharing of profits became an issue.
Yeah, big issue.
Between the shareholders.
Yeah, no, between
shareholder shares.
Yeah, well, probably. I mean, let me say veiled shareholders. Let me put it that way. Let me use that terminology.
I have a funeral. I have a funeral close
so
to.
Don't compel me to pierce the veil. Yeah, and I'll plead with him not to, in his own interest, not to force me to pierce the veil.
No, I just want to understand.
You know, but veiled. You
understand
there was such a big fight over sharing the profit because this was such a booty.
Let's leave that for the car park.
You know, this was such a booty. You know that there was such a big fight over sharing the booty.
Right.
You know, and you see, we must not accept these things. We must not accept these things. If you look at the challenges in the education sector, the congestion, you know, lack of TLMs, teacher motivation is an issue, and quality is on the decline. This is not where scarce resources should be going to. And then Get Fund, in the midst of all of this, decides to also go and throw 10 million cedis away, which they cannot retrieve for more than 3 years running. Now, Randy, if you permit me to quickly dovetail into the larger issue of how we are managing our finances as a country. The Auditor General has just concluded the 2020 audit of the Consolidated Fund. And you will be shocked, Randy, to discover that budget overruns for 2020 alone was 8.8 billion Ghana cedis, more than $1.4 billion. And the Auditor General notes that the Appropriation Act 2019, Act 1008, sets budget limits within which MDAs and NMDAs are required to keep their expenditure to prevent overrun of the appropriation and the revised budget, if any. Section 29 of the PFM Act provides, among others, that subject to any limitation that Parliament may impose, the Minister may reallocate funds that have been allocated to a covered entity to another covered entity, specified in the annual budget in the event where the functions of that covered entity are transferred to another covered entity. So if you even do any reallocation, you must reallocate functions as well. That has not been done. You have not reallocated the functions. And people, despite what Parliament has approved for their MMDAs, their ministries, department, agencies, they are just on a spending binge. So the public purse, which we were promised, will be protected. Now we cannot even find the purse. We can't find the purse.
All right. Okay. Let's just head back to Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Education if government would procure and distribute past examination questions to final year students preparing to write the West African Senior High School Certificate Examination this year, 2021, and how that will be funded?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, to help prepare the final year students of our senior high schools for 2021 West African Senior High School Certificate Exam, the Ministry has procured 146,954 past questions for the examination, and it's going to be paid. It is paid out of the free senior high school budget.
Okay, so that's just a bit.
So you see, I mean, Randy, you just cannot understand what's going on with public finances in our country. Okay. The other observation we made from the minister's responses is that we don't know if the free SHS numbers are declining. The previous year, they purchased 568,755 WASI pass questions. Then 2021, they say they are procuring 446,954. A variance of more than 100,000. So it's not clear what is going on. But in conclusion, I must commend Dr. Clement Park. He's doing a great job. And you see, that's what Parliament is for, to hold the executive accountable. And as Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee, he's been very focused. I mean, you know, he's a prolific writer. I just like his focus.
Has your question to the Finance Minister been fixed?
I got information yesterday after the meeting of Business Committee that it's finally been fixed for next week, Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
So next week, Wednesday, we'll know the cost of the famous sky bath travels.
Former Minister.
Well, Randy, let me start off from the Sami's assertion that we need to be more diligent in protecting the public purse. I agree, totally. Just that when we are out of office, then we see this great need to protect the public purse. Because I'm sure if we were to go back to many of the procurement decisions in the 8 years when Sami was a Deputy Minister for Education, there were many issues raised about procurement and the protection of the public purse. And Sami and his colleagues at the ministry at that time thought that their actions were justifiable.
Can you name one of the procurement issues? You see, Nana likes to make generalized.
No, I'm not taking
I don't recall that there was. I don't recall there was a procurement issue.
No,
we have time. The host says we have some time.
We end at 9:45.
Yeah, but you have 10 seconds for him to just list one of the procurement issues that the Professor Nana Jiman led ministry had.
You procured laptops for children, you remember? There was a lot of hue and cry about it. You procured a lot of buildings. The cost per unit of the classroom blocks were a major issue and subject of audit reports. But because we don't have time.
Which year's audit? We know you're a guru, but I mean, this year.
So is it possible I can speak?
But I'm here with the hardcore facts and evidence. If you can also.
Messi has finally won a trophy.
The protection of the public purse. Let us as politicians, when we are in office, also be hugely concerned about protecting the public purse. Not when we leave office. I can bet my little city that in all the 8 years NDC was in office, Sami Okujeto never made any pronouncement about protecting the public purse.
Really?
Like you have the energy with which you are making it now. But it is good. I'm saying that it is good. Just that when we're in office, we even have a better chance of protecting it than when we are out of office. But you see, this business of the past questions. You see, Randy and Sami, I think this discussion should be held in the context of the results that were achieved by the Ghanaian students last year. By every account, the results were very good. Out of 460 something thousand, 460 something 8 A's or so. About 410 also came from Ghana. And there are about 8 countries or 6 countries. So the results have been spectacular.
5 countries.
Okay.
PASCO within this context?
Not PASCO.
Okay.
Oh, we talked about several things. We talked
okay,
about,
okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm saying that
all right.
all this...
It's a Lionel Messi free kick.
Let's hear that.
All these issues about education,
Right.
the issues that Sami is raising, they were raised when Sami was in office. These are issues that they've been raised since I was a student. They would always be there. We have to make efforts to correct them. Overcrowding, textbooks provision, school feeding, the nothing people, the nothing students, their grants, always problems. These things occur every year, and we need to seek solutions to them. But the results that we are achieving for our students keep improving. So that should provide the context. So obviously it's not a totally bad situation. Now this business about the PASCO, I support 100% the tutoring of students with past questions and examiners' reports. Because when you've done a lot of learning in 2 years, 3 years, and you are not deliberately taught how to answer questions, you would in many cases you will find that all the things that you've been taught, they are in your head. The student knows, but putting it on paper in a way that can get a good pass, a lot of cases do not happen because we haven't made a deliberate effort to teach our students after having taught them for 3 or 2.5 years. Teach them how to deal directly with the questions. And indeed, when we're at school, you will find some of these are people, when you do the group discussions, they know it all. They have answers to everybody's difficulty in maths, in science, and so on. But when we finish the exams, you will find out that other people who didn't show that prolific knowledge did better than them. In many cases. There was one chap who I was in school with. He was the person we all ran to when we had problems. When at A-level in Agri Memorial School, he was so good. He would spend half the time learning and teaching us. And we'll be playing football and then doing all the things that 19-year-olds would do. But when we wrote the exams, when I had finished, he was calling for more paper. So we're wondering, hey, this thing. But when the results came, he had a C in many of these subjects, that accounts and so on, that he used to teach us. Clearly, the technique of answering questions is important in instruction. You can't, especially with the examiner's report. Because the examiner's report, that shows you how students deviated from answering the question. And it serves as a guide. And when we were in school, we also had the benefit of getting the examiner's report that will show you the defects in the approach to answering questions. I'm sure we would have done much better at our O levels and A levels and so on. So the deliberate introduction of instruction in answering questions can only be good. So then the issue is, how do we do it? We've talked about sole sourcing. It's what we've been told is that WAEC has the copyright and they've given those rights to a private company. I think the ministry or WAEC should demonstrate that yes, indeed, that is the case. Maybe come before the parliamentary committee and show the grant of those rights to the private company. I mean, I think the committee should demand it. so that the public discourse is not distracted. Now, we are talking about the cost. The total expenditure for free SHS is about 2 billion. I understand that an average of about 30 million is used for this procurement of the questions and the examiner's report and so on. And the rest of the money is done for school feeding, provision of textbooks, all kinds of stuff. I don't know if the money being used to procure the the past questions is too much or too small. Those are issues that, those are procurement issues. But we've been told that you have to do sole sourcing because the rights of WAEC has been given to one company, and so you could not go outside that company to procure the past questions and the examiner's report. That can easily be verified by the parliamentary committee by inviting WAEC and the private, let them come and show their documents. But the principle of teaching students deliberately in how to answer exams questions, we cannot scoff at it at all. Something that should be encouraged, and I'm sure it's something but going forward, how do we answer to some of these difficulties? Should WAEC give the license a few more companies so that if we have to procure, there'll be competitive tendering or bidding? Should we continue buying? I heard the minister say that this set of questions will be repeated, and this set of past questions will be given to the next batch to study. So there is not going to be any new procurement, because this batch of questions span 2015 to 2020, and it's about a 500-page booklet. Those booklets will be retrieved. So you're looking at something like this. It will be retrieved, and then it will be given to the next year people. So what it means is that this kind of procurement will not happen again. But these days, there's also IT, information technology. I mean, I'm sure going forward with this kind of public discourse and engagement by a committee and so on, it should be possible to put all of this on a website. Yeah. Because this contains all the subjects. Maybe I need just 8 of them. So it should be possible to have a website that students can be encouraged to go to and download the past questions that apply to them, where they are weak, and they select those past questions and work on them and so on. So going forward, I am sure we can arrive at measures that would ensure that these past questions are available to the students. These examiners' reports are available to the students, but we save costs and so on. Right. I'm very sure with the way your committee is engaged in the matter, this will be done. But let me conclude. This, Sami is saying that some of the procurements, he doesn't see the need, mass set and so on. Mass sets are essential items for the students. I buy my set for my children all the time. Yeah. And you know, they misplace them, they throw the compass.
I think the issue about the mass set has to do with the cost.
The cost, not the cost. 75 cents.
Yeah. But Sami is saying that MPs have been buying mass set for. But MPs, you've been paying fees, then there's no need for free SHS. But, you know, these issues about costs. Public officials should go by what the procurement laws say. NDC did it. We raised a lot of issues about procurement.
So why are you doing it?
But this is what I'm saying, that public, those of us, when we're in office, we should make an effort to adhere. You know, when there's sunshine on the issues, you get a public support. When you try to do things in a way that the public give the perception, you as a government, you suffer. You suffer. You know, and we should be aware of that. There may be nothing fishy about it. But if it's not as transparent and open process as possible, there would always be suspicion. And you know, perception can be reality.
So Sami and yourself will continue at the car park. The details you want, he'll give you all those details. But on the issue of the judges, Kwekwaza, the professor, he says that the judges are paid the expiration retirement rather than quadrennially. This is what he means. Says, but the effect is as though they are paid every 4 years. So it's calculated every 4 years anyway.
So so when you retire, you are paid as gratia.
Yes.
But so the problem is you retire on your salary.
Yet you are paid as gratia.
So that's what the difficulty is.
Yes. It says, consider a justice of the Supreme Court who served for a decade at each of the superior courts. On retirement, he will grab as gratia equal to 30 months salary of a Supreme Court judge, plus 20 months salary of an appeal court judge, plus 10 months salary of a high court judge. And that is 22,724 times 30, plus 21,528 times 20, plus 19,136 by 10. That is 1,303,640 ex gratia for the 30 years of service. Then he retires at the current salary of 22,724 per month, plus health, security, and other benefits.
So that's where we can rationalize.
Yeah. All right. So that will be, thanks, gentlemen, for joining me.
Permanent Emoluments Committee will solve that.
Yes. Up next, Good Morning Ghana Trends with Desmond and myself.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SA Automobile, formerly U-turn Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality U-turn product and services at competitive rates. At SA Automobile, our team of expert staff, management, engineers, and mechanics professionally deal in the sale of U-turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at a highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light-duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020-000-0831 or 054-555-7500. You can also email us info@saautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.saautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
The world has seen a lot of evolution in recent times. Global network facilitated by trade continues to grow stronger and forge nations closer together.
On International Trade Focus, we'll share with you the current industry, tech, and commercial avenues turning the world's trade wheel. This is your gateway to international business connections and trading events. Get the inside views, vital information, trends, and analysis on emerging trade giants in Ghana and beyond. International Trade Focus, the global television trade showcase, transcending barriers in creativity and innovation. Join me, Anna Spiel, as I give you a whole menu of international trade activities. International Trade Focus, your timely business hub. International Trade Focus is brought to you by GOL, ADB, Pediasi Valley Resorts, and Public Elegance.
Are you tired as a consumer in Ghana when it comes to issues that confront you as a consumer? Worry no more. Kofi Capital, I'm here to give you the information, all that you need to make sure that your right is protected as a consumer. We have too many laws and agencies that should protect the rights of the consumer. And I'm here to give you the information that will help and assist you to get goods and services delivered to you without any worries. Watch the Capital Show on Metro TV.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV shows, brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. Okay, so it's now time to check out what is trending. on Good Morning Ghana Trends. And as always, Desmond is here with me on the show. Good morning, Desmond.
Good morning, Papa Randy.
How are you doing?
Fantastic as always.
What's trending?
Oh, Neodate Lamte is trending, KNUST is trending, and a whole lot more. So let's get right into it, people. So we're going to start with Odate Lamte. He's trending on Twitter. Now, the ex-Ghanaian footballer says that he will do whatever that it takes to evict his ex-wife from his 7-bedroom house at East Legon following the dismissal of her latest appeal in Accra yesterday. Now, Odate split with his then wife after he found out that the children he had fathered after 20 years of marriage were actually not his. And social media has been reacting to his ex-wife's latest appeal to own the 7-bedroom house, which was part of her alimony after their divorce. So the comments here, this one says that the same thing happened to Tiger Woods, the golfer. His wife destroyed his life. Same thing is happening to Odate Lamte all this while. Fear women. Okay, that is from one Twitter user. Then we're moving on to the next one, and we're moving on to the next tweet that is about Ni Odate Lamte, and this one is from Efo Dela Amegashi on Twitter. Says that Odate Lamte's ex-wife's audacity is almost admirable, almost. And to the next comment, this one is from Andy.comgh on Twitter. He says that there's a quote actually from an interview with Ni Odate Lamte, and he said that I have been renting for 8 years now since the first ruling, while my ex-wife is living in my 7-bedroom house in East Legon, in addition to the 4-bedroom she has already been given. And he spoke on Angel Floodlight with Sadiq Adams. Really interesting there. And this one says that we are judging her without listening to her side of the story. That is Odate Lamte's ex-wife. This is quite an interesting thought on this one, though, because we haven't really heard from her part of the story, though. But lots of people on Twitter definitely not happy with what the woman is actually getting on, going to court and all of that. Now let's move away from Ni Odate Lamte, and well, this final one says that this is touching. May God protect us from bad women. Anyways, let's move on to Sami Jenfi. Yes, he is trending. Now, the member of Parliament for Toulon, Honorable Habib Idrisu, filed a motion yesterday on the floor of Parliament that the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jenfi, should be hauled before the Privileges Committee. And this is in connection with some comments that he made earlier this year in March, calling out the Speaker and the Minority Leader in their role in approving the nominees by President Akufo-Addo earlier in the year. And Twitter has been reacting to this particular one. And let's get on to find out what exactly is being said on Twitter. Now, Anand Perry Ahin says NPP MPs are not smart. Okay, because Kennedy Japan was referred to the Privileges Committee, they are also pushing an old issue to be adopted so that Sami Jenfi can be referred to the Privileges Committee. An issue with no merit. Okay, that's from Anand Perry. And this one from Dadaba Unusual says MPP wants Sami Jenfi to be dragged to the Privileges Committee because Kennedy Japan is in there. Okay. To the next one, this one says that Ghana has an asset in Sami Jenfi. The guy is brilliant, and yesterday he was on Good Morning Ghana, and he was trending on Twitter. A lot of people talking about this particular one, though, is about the show yesterday. It says Kweku Baku comes to Good Morning Ghana with bags of documents, and Sami Jenfi comes with one A4 sheet, but Kweku Baku ends up doing cross-checking from Sami Jenfi's A4 sheet to authenticate his documents. Okay, anyways. Those are some of the trends on Twitter about Sami Jenfi. And this one from Eben Brown says that who are those MPs seeking to drag Sami Jenfi before the Privileges Committee? What do they seek to achieve? And the final ones here is that did I hear in the 6 a.m. news that Sami Jenfi should also appear before the committee? What was his privilege talk? Ken said he hasn't seen anyone who speaks sense in the NDC like Sami. So why are the wise men in the MPP equating reckless to sensible speeches? This is from Kofi Amwa on Twitter. We're moving on to the next trend on Twitter. And today is Wizkid's birthday. Yeah, the Nigerian superstar is celebrating his birthday today. Born Ayodeji Ibrahim Balogun, the multiple award-winning artist, is trending on social media as fans and music lovers are celebrating him on his birthday. And of course, Sam Clef wrote something nice about Wizkid on Twitter. Let's check that one out. Sam Clef, the producer, and he said that happy birthday to big bro Wizkid. And of course, as the day goes on, lots of tweets will be coming in, and Monday we'll bring all of that to you. And to the next tweet, this one says that Grammy winner, okay, so this is from Hip Hopville though, and it says that Grammy winner and Wizkid turns 31 today. Okay, so this one also says Big Wiz Day, 4 albums, 1 EP, 1 Grammy Award, 2 Soul Train Awards, 2 MTV EMAs, 2 NACP Image Awards, 3 BET Awards, 4 Mobile Awards, and the most awarded artist in the Headies history. First Nigerian artist to appear on the Billboard Hot 100 and 200 simultaneously. So that's a Wizkid Day. And this one is from AK Praise and says, do you ever just sit there and think, wow, Wizkid? Okay, so that's about Wizkid today. He's celebrating his birthday. This one says that, Wizkid, are you happy birthday, Big Wiz, being a fan since 19 from the days of hustle and bustle, and now the big bag is full and still moving. It's a wonderful big 31. Long life, Big Wiz. We go dance to the tune. All right, so let's talk about KNUST, because some students at KNUST are protesting, the hike in the accommodation fees, and it's something that has come up on social media. Yesterday was trending. People are paying so much, even more than their actual tuition fees. And so let's check out some of the tweets from the students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This one says, KNUST hostel prices need to be fixed. EPA, GRA, etc. taxations should not cause these high increments, with the hashtag fix hostels now. And this one is a fee schedule for the 2020-21 academic year, and you see that in total that student is paying 1,690 cedis, but when it comes to the hostel fees, that is something else, and that is what they are actually protesting. This one says that KNUST students, drop your hostel name with the previous and current fees. Let everyone know how they are exploiting students and parents here. And well, he says that 2-in-1, 3,200, that was the previous one, and now it is 3,600 Ghana cedis. That's a lot. Now this hostel, Redmark Hostel, someone also put that on social media. You see the figures there. It's moved, and they are complaining about that. And Brunei Complex and also Hall 7, the fees are just crazy, and some of the students are protesting that. Binding Michael on Twitter says that the hostel prices have been increased. Some have increased it by 1,000 Ghana cedis, others to 800 cedis. Meanwhile, it's just 8 months. The one I had is in a 3-room, and each of us is to pay 3,700 cedis for 8 months. So those are the trends on Twitter. KNUST today, they say that they are going on a protest on campus about this particular situation. So Doc, those are the trends on Twitter.
Very, very interesting issues. My friend and brother Odate Lamte has issue as well. That's my buddy, and I know he's been through a lot.
Yeah,
big issue. But I like to stay off the commentary on that one as well.
Well, definitely. I was going to ask you if you know any Wizkid song.
Oh, Wizkid is one of my favorite artists.
Okay.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite artists. I love to listen to Wizkid a lot.
Okay.
Yes. And I wish him a happy 31st birthday. I'll probably do a playlist of his songs this weekend.
Definitely for the weekend. So that's it for GMG Trends today.
Right. So thanks Desmond for joining me. How are you spending the weekend?
I'll just be home with a couple of friends. Just do some hangouts in the house.
Some what?
Hangouts in the house.
In the house?
Yeah, in the house. We just play some FIFA and a couple of things. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's how you spend your weekends?
Yeah, that's how I spend my weekends. And then, of course, the work continues.
That are beatings. Anyway, so thanks. Have a great weekend. And thanks for watching Good Morning Ghana. The weekend is here and everything you do, exercise moderation. Hope to see you next Monday, God willing. Have a very, very restful and pleasant weekend.